Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Nuggets News. Today we've got a very special guest. Welcome, Bitlord.
G'day guys, how you going? Happy to be here. It's very exciting to jump on with Alex, and I feel like we're going to have a good day.
I'm very much looking forward to diving into the charts. Everyone wants to know about altcoins, but I want to start off with a bit of your background and, how does trading crypto, improve you as a person? And I know at the moment it's pretty hard mentally, but how does this correction compare to other corrections? And what's your history with your trading, mate?
Okay, so I started trading. I wouldn't call it trading. It was more investing when I was pretty young. I got very lucky. So my dad gave me $1,000, and this was like well before the iron ore boom. And the town I was from, it was a small town. Everyone knew what was going on. There was like a company that was it was starting to do some stuff with the railways. It had like a massive ore lease, and basically I put $1,000 in. I got a 10x, and I thought I was a genius. I thought I was like, all right, this is me. I'm destined for this shit. Probably the worst thing that could happen, because then you think you're amazing. And I did all right after that, but just with that initial winning mentality that I'm untouchable. It took me a while to actually figure out that no, I'm not, and that went on for years. So I got into forex relatively young. I had a great paying job. I was in the oil and gas industry. I was making a killing. So lucky for me, I was able to keep loading my forex account. I was able to keep liquidating that shit, and I wasn't learning a thing. So it was a long and bumpy ride, and it was very expensive. So fortunately, I did have that full-time job. I wasn't silly enough to quit that, and I started to learn from mistakes. It took me a while, but I started to figure shit out, and then that's when I came across crypto, and I felt like everything that I'd learned from there, it prepared me for crypto, and crypto was a whole new world. And look, one thing's for sure, I know this: before you can really get that edge that you're after, the markets are going to break you. The market's going to break you before you get to where you need to be, and they're going to break. It's going to break you over and over again. But you need to learn from that. So look, I know things are rough right now. Things are really tough, but at the end of the day, this is a good thing. It's a good opportunity to to walk away and actually learn from what's happening here.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I remember getting in when Bitcoin was what, $30 or $50, and then you think you're a genius, and then it crashes back down to $50. I remember buying more at 700 or 800 and getting FOMO, and then it gets smashed back down to $160 for 2 years, and you're sitting on minus 70%. So crypto markets teach you so much more, so much faster than trading the stock markets for 10 years, and we might not even have a correction. Now, at the moment, the stock markets are getting a beating in the tech sector, but crypto teaches you pretty fast.
The market cycles are sped up. I mean, you can go through that boom and bust cycle in the crypto markets, in only a matter of months, and in some cases weeks, when it comes to these smaller altcoins. And like you've seen Bitcoin just this past 11 months now, we've gone through that boom bust period. And look, I'm not saying that this is over yet, but I tell you what, like it's certainly a learning curve for those that thought it was a great idea to jump in around 18, 20K. I mean, shit, it's you're down about 70%, from that zone now, and it's down 28% in the last 3-4 days. So that's absolute savage right there.
So for those sitting on at home, before we dive into the charts, what do you think's going on? Because I know, I've been covering this Bitcoin Cash situation, and a lot of people sort of saying that, hey, there's a lot of fear out there because people don't know what's going on. But what do you make of what's going on now?
Look, regarding the whole Bitcoin cashing, I mean, you've got Roger Ver, you've got Craig Wright, you've got Jihan Yu. It's pretty much the three musketeers that don't know what the fuck they're doing. Now, I wrote off these guys like months and months ago. I thought, look, they're completely irrelevant now. I don't care what they're doing. The little shitcoin project has failed to gain traction. There's still a lot of fanboys out there for it, but I just wrote it off. And then I hear about this new Bitcoin Cash fork, and I couldn't even keep up with it. I mean, you've got this clown, Craig Wright. This guy's so wrong. He just keeps saying absolute bullshit over and over again. He's saying, he just empty threats. I mean, I've seen some of the stuff that he's posted. People got to screenshot it because I'm blocked, and so is 99% of Twitter. So it's hard for me to keep up like that. Same for Roger Ver. I mean, we can't keep up with this shit because I don't see his feeds, his stuff go through my feed anymore because I'm blocked like everybody else. So when it was news to me when Bitcash was forking and splitting off into two chains, he had like the Roger camp and the Craig champ. Fuck knows where Jihan is on this, but I just completely wrote it off. And then I see that we've got Bitcoin BAB or Bitcoin SBC or something like that. It's like that soup that you buy in the supermarkets, that SPC shit. Anyway, I see it's a very bad thing for Bitcoin Cash because what it actually does is that it fragments that brand. It fragments and it confuses us on what actually is Bitcoin Cash. So originally when Bitcoin was split into Bitcoin Cash, I mean, there was a lot of confusion between the noobs, and you've got money and hash power going across two different chains, and it sort of weakens the brand a bit. Now, this actually strengthens the Bitcoin brand because Bitcoin Cash has been that sort of, is it real Bitcoin? Is it not? It's not. We know that. But for the noobs, they don't. Now it's very clear to them that, no, it's not the real Bitcoin. So in actual fact, like long term, this is fantastic for Bitcoin because, you know, the competitor, let's be honest, in some sense it was a competitor. It's now been fractured. So eventually these people, they need to stop mining at a loss. There's some great research by the BitMEX research team. They're showing that these guys are mining at a loss of like, 280, 380. I think it's now 500K a day. That's not sustainable. You can't keep that up. So eventually, you know, these miners, they're going to have to come home to the mother chain because it just is not profitable and they can't keep burning cash like that. So I see this as a really good thing for Bitcoin. It's not a good thing for Bitcoin Cash. Now, at the end of the day, I haven't been able to keep up with what's going on. For me, it's been largely irrelevant. I believe that Bitcoin, it was always, Bitcoin sell-off is not to do with Bitcoin Cash forking or any of that bullshit. Look, this was printing well in advance, and you know we can search for a narrative in the news, but look, guys, Bitcoin was always going to break through that 6K level and continue that bloodshed. So I don't know. I'm not too concerned about what these guys are up to. I'm just trying to trade the markets, see what's going on, and not focus on this this distraction.
So I completely agree. And the thing is, they're either having to mine their own, sell their own coins, and who is buying that? And if they're not dumping their own coins, they're swapping it to their competitors' coins and dumping. And that's why we've seen both the forks sell off. The other thing is, yesterday Coinbase declared that one of the chains is a winner because it's got the longest chain, and today we've seen the other one become, get more hash power. So this is just making a mockery of some of the biggest websites and players in the world. And as you say, people are just going to stick to the king. So let's dive in and have a look at the charts.
Okay.
While we're doing that as well, man, I think a lot of people want to know, what indicators do you look at? Some people have got heaps, some people have got one or two.
Okay, I'm not a big fan of indicators because I always find myself searching for, I used to go through indicators and I used to try to find what I was looking for in an indicator rather than actually, seeing what the indicator is trying to tell me. So I spent a lot of time. Originally, I started very simple. I'd go horizontal, support, resistance, diagonal, support, and resistance. So simple. It's never going to fool you. It's not going to lie. So that's all the action you need. And the volume's going to tell you what it is that's going on. Now, I started using indicators for years. I went through everything. I really tried playing around, but everything just brought me back to horizontals and diagonals. The only indicator that I'm using right now is Bollinger Bands, because Bollinger Bands, you'll be able to see how they performed over the history of Bitcoin. These things are very reliable. When you're nipping outside of a Bollinger Band in a sideways market, the likelihood that it's going to nip back into that Bollinger Band, it looks like you'll be able to see this. I'll show you shortly. It always comes back into that Bollinger Band. So right now we're outside of the Bollinger Band, actually just inside on this daily.
Can you share your screen with us for us, mate?
Okay. I keep things very simple, very, very simple. The more things that you have to go wrong, the more things are going to go wrong. Okay, what we've got here is the daily chart for Bitstamp. Now, I like to use Bitstamp because Bitstamp is an older market. It feels like it's more established, it's smoother, it's rounder. It gives me the picture. I don't use an index because I'm not comfortable with an index. I feel like I've traded on stamp for long enough. I know the feel of the market. It's got a flow to it that I just can't find anywhere else. So I like Bitstamp. If I'm going to use something else, I'm going to use Bitfinex. Bitfinex have been around a long time as well, but you're going to see some real nasty tips and tricks come out of BitMEX. So, okay, here we go. Very obvious support down around the 3,500. You can see there's a bit of action there. We break through, very clear, comes through a retest, up it goes again. You can see it's ducked down through that. It's perched on it again, retest, and there it goes. So that's a very significant level. You're then going to find your next significant level, 4,500. Look, we've had this marked in for a long time now, and it's no surprise that we've bounced up for that retest. This whole green box here, that's a bit of a chop zone in my opinion, because you're seeing us break through back here, come back down, challenge, blast through, retest, up again, rejected. A lot of chop action. Look, this has come down right sharp. See through that Bollinger Band there? As I'm saying, look, I like Bollingers because when we're nipping on the outside of a Bollinger Band, which is this section here, quite often we do return back in that band. So look, if you've got some balls and you're buying outside of the Bollinger Band like that, and here again, it seems like you can do quite well. So that's why I just like to use the bollies. Nipping outside it there, you've got to be careful with that. But I'm looking at this and I'm thinking that, look, after we broke that 6,000 level, a lot of people have had looked to buy that dip on the 5.5, but it was so significant, such a significant break. I mean, you can see all this price action across here that it made absolutely no sense to buy that dip. A lot of people did on this green candle here. As you can see, it got rejected straight off 5,670s and then bam, straight back down. We're resting on that next level of support now, which is this green box, which is the lower 4,000s. I feel like we're going to play around here for a bit because it's such a significant level. So look, guys, I'm not interested in buying this dip. I'm not interested in shorting this. I'm interested in staying out and actually seeing what's going to happen. You know, are we going to chop around this level? Are we going to get the volume that we need to sustain a rally to, you know, possibly challenge the 5,000 zone? That's what I'm looking for. Or, you know, are we going to swiftly break through this? And I tell you what, if we break through this green box here, it's going to get pretty sharp into the upper 3K. So look, I'm not shorting. I'm not going long. I'm sitting out. I'm being patient, and I feel like that's the best thing we can do right now. So you know, ignore these people that are buying the dip, that are doing this and that, and just be patient. Look, we've heard this buying the dip all year, and at some stage you've got to tap out. You can't just keep hitting that ATM.
I want to touch on that point you said about volume, and that's one thing that I was chatting about in my live videos the other day, that we're just not seeing the big green volume days come in on previous V-shaped recoveries that got aggressively bought. So we're already into that next daily bar, which is a little bit hard to see right down the bottom there, guys. But that green bar where we got a few buys yesterday, that's just not convincing compared to that volume of selling leading into it.
Yeah, I mean, have a look like what Alex is referring here. Look at that. It was around February. This is the sort of volume he's talking about. I mean, you see that massive wick, that big deep candle, that huge sell-off, and it's backed up by some pretty serious volume. You can see that. Now, right now, have a look at what we've got. That's just selling volume. We got a little bit of buy action yesterday, but it is getting exciting. But you know, this daily's open very weak. I mean, that's a very small amount of volume this early into the day. I dare say it is going to ramp up over the next 12 hours leading into the daily close. Oh, sorry, 16 hours. But the thing is, guys, you need to be very careful. If we don't get that volume to back up this level, the sellers are going to take control again. So you really need to be careful and just be patient right now. That's the most important thing. Just be patient.
Let's have a look at Ethereum, mate, and a lot of these other altcoins that have been beat up 90%.
Okay, I'm just going to check my Ethereum chart here. Look, I've been quite bearish on Ethereum for some time now. This started around February this year. Now, just going to whip this horizontal in. Look, guys, you're gonna see my charts. They are very simple. They're very simple, and you're gonna see time and time again. These horizontals, they're not gonna lie to you. The horizontals, they're as strong as it's going to get. I mean, you can play around with all the indicators you like, but you're really doing circles. You're going to come back to horizontals and diagonals. You know, I've done that for years, and I'm back here again. It's just like the most simple way to do it. And as I said, like the more simple you keep it, the less things to fuck up. Here we go. This is that Ethereum chart. Okay, now as you can see, I've marked in all the relevant horizontal levels through this thing. Look, I could go ahead and mark another one around $55. You probably don't want to see that. But here's the key break here. I put that, we actually had this in for quite some time. When we initially touched the, come on, it's loading.
One thing I'll just mention quickly for people at home is that you're on log scale. So, you know, that $55 that looks like...
When we first touch it, that's what that red box in. And I said, look, it's gonna come down. It's gonna rally off it, and then we're gonna come down on that next one, and we're gonna break. We're gonna break that 200, 190 level hard. So when we did, it's very obvious. I mean, we've had these lines marked in this whole time. The next obvious area of support is the 150, which we broke, you know, on that subsequent daily. I mean, the first one, obviously, it's gone up perfectly. It's open. It's gone out. Now, what actually concerns me about Bitcoin right now is that when you look at the Ethereum chart and the Bitcoin chart, obviously they're very similar. These markets do move in tandem. But on the Ethereum chart, there's not a hell of a lot of support across this 120 zone. I mean, that's not a very well-defined horizontal support area. I mean, we've broken through it. We've pushed straight through, had the retest. That's all the chart data we have. So there's not a lot of defined action on there. Look, guys, if we're going to come down and break this 120 zone, unfortunately, you're going to be looking at the 90s, the upper 90s. That's where it is. That is the only area of support after we break that. So that's why we have it marked in. Look, it's as simple as that. And what that's going to look like, it'll probably look like a break, retest, and then straight sharp move down. There's no way that's just going to come straight down like that. You're going to get the break, retest, and there we go. So look, I'm not too excited for Ethereum right now. I'm obviously not looking to buy this dip. As I said, patience. It's really going to save that account balance. You can continue buying the dip, continue stopping yourself out over and over again, or you can just kick back and wait for something obvious to present itself. And that's where I stand on Ethereum. You're going to notice there's no diagonals in this. You know, you can put a diagonal across here, and that would be telling you to, you know, go ahead and buy that. I mean, look, there we go. But not me. I'm going to sit out and be patient on that. So you see a lot of people, they'll probably put this one in.
So a lot of people have been asking, why have Ripple and Stellar held up so well? You know, it's hard because, you know, there's some you know, you call them fanboys, call them whatever you want. There's a lot of people out there that think that those coins are going to replace the banks and make them really rich. Now maybe they do, but it's important to recognize that they're not true decentralized peer-to-peer blockchains.
Yeah. Okay. With something like Ripple and Stellar, look, a lot of people say, look, we get a lot of flack from you know, the Bitcoin community saying, look, these aren't decentralized projects. You know, these are shitcoins, this, that, and the other. They are the banks. They're the enemy. Guys, banks aren't going anywhere. Banks are going to be around for a very long time. Actually, we need banks. We do need banks. I mean, you know, the thought of Bitcoin replacing the dollar, it starts to get a little bit crazy. I mean, if Bitcoin was my dollar over the past 11 months, I'd be fucked. I really would be. It feels like I'd be living in Venezuela. You know, those poor guys. So we need stable coins. I tell you what, when Bitcoin has a stable coin, when I can go to my Samurai wallet and I have Bitcoin and I have stablecoin in there, I have my USD, I can swap between it, a decentralized version of that, similar to what BitShares have. That'd be fantastic. Then, okay, now we're talking. You know, that shit's getting real.
I've been really bullish on the Make or Die project by Ethereum. They've got the best stablecoin out there and it's decentralized, so we'll have to check that one out.
Nice.
Do you want to have a look at any other charts, matey? Do you want to show people your thoughts on Ripple and Stellar, or is there some altcoins that you think are setting up stronger than others, or what are the worst performing ones you'd avoid?
Yeah, I guess we can have a look at Ripple. Ripple has a lot of action right now. The chart I'm using Polo. Please, you just got to ignore the volume profile on that because a lot of traders have moved off Polo onto things like Binance. We're seeing a lot of action on BitMEX on that swap pair. So there's not a lot of spot action on Polo, but I use it because of the chart history from early 2014, or sorry, late 2014. It's one of the few markets that were around at the time. Look, guys, Ripple is a business. Ripple is a centralized business. It's a company. They're not here for decentralization. I mean, it's like when I go down to the local pie shop. I don't give a shit about decentralization. I just want my fucking pie. That's how it works in a business or a company. Now, Ripple are providing a product. They're providing a service to the banks. They're doing a very good job at it. We hear a lot of stuff about, look, but Ripple isn't XRP, vice versa. Yes, we know that, but if the banks want the most efficient way to move money, they're going to have to do it through the use of XRP. Look, is XRP a security? I'd probably say it is. It very likely is, and we're seeing these guys. They've got some big connections. They've some idiot like Bill Clinton speak. They have a look at who's on the team, like who's on the board. They have some very deep connections in the financial world. They have some very smart people working for them, and I feel like the Securities Exchange Commission fined these guys. I think it was 2 years ago for unregistered securities. So they've been cleaning up the space. They've been cleaning up the actions over this whole time. And I won't be surprised if one day we see XRP as a security. When that, if that's going to be over the next 2 years, I feel like it's coming. But I'm not really concerned right now. I'll show you my XRP chart.
And that doesn't mean it's the end of the world either, guys. If something gets called a security, maybe they get a fine, maybe they've got to clean their act up, but maybe it can also open to the Wall Street and so on.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I mean, if they are a security, they're able to get listed on things like Nasdaq. That's a great thing. It just opens up that market. Now let's have a quick look at this. As I said, guys, keep it simple. That's all you need. So here we are. We get a bit of chopper, ball again, and it becomes obvious. Quite often it's going to return again. So that's why I use them now. As you can see here, it doesn't look like we're up for any major moves. This thing really looks like it's going to push across sideways for at least into January. I'd say like into later January, December. I can't see anything major happening. It's sitting in the middle of that Bollinger. Look, this isn't something that I'd be looking to trade. I mean, you just kick back. There's nothing super obvious. I mean, if we come down to the lower end of the Bollinger Band, which would be the mid-20s, yeah, sure, I'm interested. I might be a buyer. If we start pushing up sideways and we do get a streak outside of that Bollinger, I'd be looking to take a short position. And look, that coincides. So, right now it's just no interest for me. Not interested. So another market that will just kick back and watch.
Yeah, it's funny you say that in terms of nothing might break till January. And I think a lot of people that got into this space want to get rich quick and whatnot. But patience is the number one thing you can learn. And people that have got in this space a few years ago that, you might be thinking, oh, I'm so jealous of them or they've made so much money. Everyone forgets that you had to go through years of bear markets or sit on the sidelines, take profits when everyone else was, euphoric or buy when everyone else was fearful. So going through these cycles, guys, just be patient because what I want to finish off on is your longer term thoughts. And I definitely think we're going to go through more of these cycles.
Oh yeah. Like, over and over again. I mean, we've had this new batch of 2018 noobs. We've had them wrecked. We pulled the rug, just like it happened to us. It's going to happen again. We're going to get that stage where we push across sideways. We start getting a bit of hype. Everyone's going to get excited. We're going to bring in a new batch of noobs. We need them. We really do.
That one of the first altcoin runs in 2014, I think it was, when I bought some Aurora coin, and they were saying this is going to be the official coin of Iceland. I logged into Polo like 4 years later, and I had Aurora coin in there.
Shit, I remember selling that shit on Cripsy, and they had an outage at the time, and I think it got up to point two 0.17, 0.2. I shit you not, on Cripsy. And I did really well on this coin. But around about the same time, Cripsy had this withdrawal bug where you could keep withdrawing like more that was in your account. And they got taken for a ride, and that was all about the same time. By the way, Cripsy is a defunct exchange now. The owner ran off with a couple million of our funds somewhere in Hong Kong or something like that. Fuck knows where he is now. But
yeah, I mean, I lost plenty of Bitcoins back in the day with defunct, even Aussie exchanges that went under. It was just the absolute Wild West back then.
Yeah.
Finally, mate, I had one other question for you. I just got contacted before by the 7 p.m. project, and they want to know if I know anyone that's lost a fortune. They'll be happy to go on and speak on public TV. So would you be up for that?
Oh yeah, get me on there, man. I'll have some fun with these guys. Like, oh yeah, this would be good. I tell you what, like how I'd like to get on, and I tell them, like, all right, you want to come shoot? Like, you got to come to me though. And where am I? I'm going to be under a bridge in a swag, fucked up off some $5 whiskey. And that's it. I'll be collecting butts, and if they want to do it, that's how it'll be done. I'll show you how wrecked you can get as an altcoin trader.
Oh, I think they'll love that. You make sure you drive the narrative. Well, thanks for joining us today, mate. I will put the links to all your stuff below, but certainly follow Bitlord on Twitter, and I know you're going to make some more videos as well soon for us.
Oh yeah, look, I'm excited to get on any sort of like YouTube thing, podcasts and that sort of stuff. I'm trying to get like more active like that and not be so shy. So it would be cool. I think Alex asked me like regarding where I see Bitcoin in a couple of years. This is Rexona, by the way. Look, guys, I feel like we're gonna get. We need to do something. We need to bring back this 1 million bits is a Bitcoin. No one wants to. These normies don't want to spend like. $6, $7, $8, $20,000 on a fucking Bitcoin. Remove that shit. Let's call it Satoshi of Bitcoin. And these normies can feel good about putting $100, $200 in it. They're going to get thousands and thousands of Bitcoin. So that's what I want to see. Yeah,
and all it would take is everyone to get together, the wallet providers and exchanges, and say, right, we're going to do 1,000 times, same as we do a stock split, and all of a sudden people are, a Bitcoin is $4 instead of $4,000, and people go, wow, that's so cheap. So
yeah, get me like $1,000 worth.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you joining us today, mate, and I hope to have you on again in the future.
I had a great time, man. I look forward.